Well, hello, friends. Before I start today's video, I just want to say thank you to the people who reached out to give financial support to this project. That means a lot to me, and I really, really appreciate it. So thank you. And also to the people who reached out to show stuff that you're building with Serenity. That's super cool, and just keep that stuff coming because it's so interesting. Thank you for doing that. Now, in today's video, I think I'm going to do a little bit of text editor stuff. Specifically, I'm going to do right-aligned text boxes because that's a feature request that I got. So currently, I'll show you. I have these this text box widget, right? But it only ever goes left to right, and it would be pretty damn useful if you could make it right-aligned. For numeric inputs and stuff like that, right? So that's what I'm going to do today is just, I figured out I would just add a property to the text editor widget that allows you to set a custom text alignment. And here's the gtext editor. Of course, I just want to point out that the gtext box widget is like a helper widget that is a single line gtext editor, basically. So you can just instantiate this if all you want is a single line. So these are gtext boxes here, for instance. But yeah, so all the actual logic goes into the gtext editor class. So that's also where we're going to add text alignments. So I figured I would do it like this. We already have a text alignment type, although maybe I didn't actually include it. But that would be in shared graphics text alignment. Yeah, and it has these kind of arbitrary alignment types at the moment. Probably be adding more in the future, but these are the ones we have now. So let's first off, let's just make a getter for the current value because that's always nice to have. And then we'll also add a set text alignment. And why don't we put that out of line? Okay, so let's add a member for that. Text alignment and text alignment. And the default value will be center left. Okay. Now let's go and implement that setter. So that will just be gtextEditor set text alignment. If we already have this alignment, then it's a no op. Otherwise, set it and let's update so that we redraw ourselves with this new alignment in effect. Okay, now we're going to have to look at how gTextEditor widgets are painted. So I guess I can just do a quick overview here. So these things, they inherit from a class called gFrame. And gFrame is the thing that paints this nice, Windows 9X looking container frame around the widget. So the first thing you got to do in the paint event that inherits, in something that inherits from gFrame, you got to call gFrame paint event to make sure that we fill this stuff in. And then you get to do your own painting. And then text editor widgets, they have sort of a two-pass paint event. The first pass will paint this optional left-hand side ruler thingy here that just shows you line numbers. But when you're using gTextBox, the subclass will automatically disable the ruler. And the ruler is the first pass that we draw. And you can see it here in the paint event code that ruler visible is sort of checked here and there, and if it's false, then we skip over some parts. So that part is not at all relevant for our custom alignment stuff that we're going to do now. So we are going to instead look at here. This is the bulk of the stuff that we're interested in. And The way that the paint element works here is that we compute a little further up here. We compute the first visible line in the document and the last visible line in the document. Of course, in a single line edit, there's only one line, but this is relevant for bigger documents. So then we iterate from the first visible line to the last visible line, inclusive, and draw them one by one. So here is the draw text call that paints into the LineRect, which we computed up here. Paints the line characters with the line length and with this alignment here. And as you can see, it's hard-coded center left right now. So what we're going to do is we're just going to sneakily tweak that so that we're passing M text alignment. But this will definitely fall apart if we have some selection. But let's just have a quick look at how this would appear. Because I am curious. Oh shit, I didn't actually set that type of alignment on anything. So here's that little test app that you're seeing, has two text boxes. So we'll just say TB1, set text alignment. Center left, and you get to be center right. Okay, let's try that again. Now we are filling in from over there. Although, as you can see, it really gets weird with selection, and also the cursor is totally in the wrong place. But we are getting somewhere, I would say. So, let's see. Maybe we shouldn't allow custom alignment, but only like left or right. But I would also like to have center. Let's just leave it this way for now. And we will figure it out as we go. Okay. Now, I did notice that it was sort of ending up under the frame. So actually, first things first, let's make this a little bit easier to debug by just setting an original text in these things. Set text left aligned and right aligned. Okay, just so that we can quickly find out how it turns out. Oh, I'm a big stupid dummy. Okay, well, I'm just gonna trust that turns out okay. Okay, so now we want to figure out what to do with the selection and the cursor. And also, I guess we don't want to end up under the that G-frame border thing that I was talking about. So let's see why it does that. So the LineRect that defines the rect that we are painting each line into, it's computed by this function called line_content_rect. So let's look at how that's implemented. Why don't you automatically resolve? I don't know. Line_content_rect. Okay, and we would be here if it's a single LineRect. So the LineRect starts at x coordinate m horizontal content padding, and then the width is this. So I think that we're gonna want to wait. Hold on. What is content width? I feel like if we're starting like this many pixels into it from the left, we should also make the content width be that much smaller. So let's see, content size is set where content width includes the padding. Ooh, how does that make any sense? content width includes the padding. I feel like this is not supposed to be here. Why is this here if the width includes the padding? Then we should be starting at 0. So I think this would be more accurate LineRect, but of course then we are going to end up under here in both cases because now we don't actually go out. So let's see, content width, line content rect. Well, then really what we should be doing is we should be starting this far into it, and then we should be subtracting m horizontal content padding times 2 from the width, because this is a line rect, not a content rect. Okay, so there we go. So now we start X amount of pixels into it, and then we subtract twice that from the right side. Now the lefty looks correct, but the righty does not. And why is that? So how wide are you really? Okay, let's find this out. It's been a while since I was hacking on this, so forgive me for being a little bit confused about these things. LineRect set width. Aha! So here we are screwing everything up by overriding the width of the line, setting to the exposed width. And what is the exposed width? It is the biggest of either the content width or the width. Either the content width or the width. So I guess this is for an editor where the content is not as wide as the widget. So this allows us to have the line extend to the end of the widget. And that makes sense. But the line shouldn't really be that wide. Line content rect. Okay, hold on. LineRect is that wide. God, this is sort of one of my weaknesses. So the line content rect is that wide. This is so stressful to do on camera suddenly. Okay, let's just beat it with a hammer, which is what I would normally do if nobody was looking. Exposed width. Then we'll. Is that used anywhere else? No, it's not used anywhere else. So let's say. And I think maybe the trick here is that it should be frame inner rect dot width. So the frame inner rect is a G frame, has those 2 pixels on both sides that paint the frame, right? So we have 2 pixels here and 2 pixels here, and the frame interact is like the thing that's inside of those. So everything that's white here is the frame interact. So as you can see here, when I use the frame interact as the exposed width instead of the full widget rect, then everything turns out the way that we want it to be. So now it looks right. And And of course, yeah, resizing works. Well, whatever, what did I expect? But let's do something about the cursor next. Okay. So the cursor is painted after all of the lines have been painted, so it's down here. So if you see here, if we have focus and if cursor state, and the cursor state is just like, it's the blinking state basically. So if it's true, that means that we are blinking on. It means we should paint it. And what we do is we just fill this cursor content right, which is computed here. So let's look how this works. So if it's a single line, then we start here, and this really needs to be based on the text alignment. Okay. So let's say switch and text alignment. And obviously we're not going to implement every possible alignment right now, so we are going to do a little bit of this thing here where if we end up here one day, then we know what we have to do. Okay, so we just assert that we don't reach this point here, and whoever hits it first has to implement it. Okay. And now the cursor rect is not going to be based on the left side, but rather on the right side. So we're going to start on the right side of the content rectangle. But wait, hold on. We can actually compute this outside. So let's put that here. Because the only thing that we really care about here is the x coordinate, actually. So we'll say cursor x. Cursor x. Okay, so we don't need to compute the whole rect. So this can actually just be cursor x. And we'll put the same down here for the multi-line code. Okay. And I am blind. What am I messing up? Oh, this stuff. Text alignment center right. Okay, so what we're going to do then is we are going to start with the frame inner rect right. It's the rightmost pixel. And then we subtract the horizontal padding, and we subtract, no, wait, we don't subtract. So we're going to be on the right-hand side of the text. So we just need to subtract the padding. I think that's cool. Okay. Let's see how that looks. Tap, 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 tap. That's pretty good. Of course, the cursor is right over the text here, and that's not what's happening here. And why is it like that? Well, oh yeah, for one thing, a rect.right is actually an inclusive coordinate, if you want to call it that. So it's the rightmost pixel, but we are not actually outside the rect yet, so this is not the same as x plus width, but it's rather x plus width minus 1. So let's just do that and see what that looks like. I have a tendency to forget how right works. Okay, now it's outside. And that's pretty cool. Okay. Pretty cool. But oh yeah, now the selection. We gotta fix up the selection as well. And I also want to see what it looks like if we empty out the text box. So let's just clear everything. Yeah, text box looks stupid. Hello. That is just very neat. Hello. Hello. Oh, and we can't even click drag select here. That would have to do. Yeah, you have to go over here to do that. So selection is next. Let's have a look at that then. Let's go back to the paint event. And looky here, line has selection. So there's a start column on line, end column on line. And selection left and selection right. This is where we compute the pixel x pixel coordinates for the selection within this one individual line that we're painting here in this iteration of the loop. So it's the same kind of issue again. And I think, well, we just need to compute the selection left, because selection right is then relative to is it relative line right left? No, it's not relative. Okay, we have to actually compute both. Okay, well, whatever, we can just do that. Okay. I feel like this could be done with some kind of a helper, actually, but I'm just going to write it out manually at first, and then we discover what the helper should look like. Because I mean, I can tell that I want to have a helper for this, but I just don't see it in my head yet. So switch and text alignment. Center left. That's you. Break. Center right. And default. Cert not reached. Sorry. And what was this other piece of thing I was doing? Yeah, okay, so it would be something like G text editor column to pixel x. Is that x for column? Let's call it x for column. And column. And I guess it would be like that. Turn x for column. Is that good? Cursor x is x for column. M cursor dot column. Right, but it doesn't work for the right aligned if I actually move the cursor. I didn't even think to try that. Okay, but let's just leave it like that first. Okay, so here we want to instead just subtract the cursor. Wait, is that really what I want? No, it's not what I want. I want to subtract the width of the text and then add the cursor. Yeah, that's what I want to do. So let's see, how do we do that? Line. How do we get the line width? X for column. So gonna need the row number. Cursor content rect. I guess we can use a const g text position. Position. And position column times that, blah, blah, blah. And then we subtract the line content rect. What did that do again? All right, I gotta figure this out. Line content rect is, what is it? Content width. Okay, what the hell is the data structure? I don't remember how the lines are stored. It's a line object, and it's in M lines. Okay, M lines. Okay, let's just look in M lines. Say auto line is M lines, position line. Okay, now we have line. Yeah, that's how we were doing it. Okay. And then we do line. We can actually dereference that here, give us a reference, slightly nicer to work with. Line minus length. Let's see, line minus length. So we want to, first we want to subtract full line, and then we add the position column times width. Jeez. Okay. X4. This is a rather strange helper, but I think X4 position. Let's call it this for now, and we'll see how we like it. That's content X. Okay, gtext position. Yeah, content X4 position. Yep. And why did you add that stuff? Go away. Okay. So now we can just pass in the whole cursor. No? Oh, this thing needs to be const. Yeah, right, I forgot. Content X. It doesn't need to mutate anything. It should just be const. Yeah, that's better. Okay, and now we can go back to the paint event and do this thing the way that I wanted, which is to say content X for position selection start column online. And we have to instantiate the text position object. So that will just be gtext position. Yeah, just a line on the column. Okay, and the line is I in this case, because we're iterating. And do we even need to do that? Can we just do this? Yeah, very pleasant. Okay, and let's do the same for the selection end. Okay, okay. Will it work on first try? Let's find out. I feel like I'm screwing something up here. Oh, look at that shit. It just actually freaking works. How cool. I was not expecting that to work so well. Now, the last remaining thing is the mouse event handling. So as you can see, I'm dragging over here on the left side and it's reacting on the right side. That's not what we want. So we gotta go and take care of that as well. So let's go into the mouse move event. Where is this? Mouse down? Yeah, mouse down, okay. Oh, and then we are using this trusty helper here, text position at, and then we are passing in this position. So thank you, past self, for factoring it this way. So now all we have to do is just compute based on the alignment here. So how the heck does this work? The column index is the thing that we are interested in. So here is position.x divided by glyph width. Well, that's obviously not how this has to work, but we can't really use the helper. Here we have to do a new thing, so because this is another direction that we are converting in. So m text alignment, case text alignment, center left, column index, and for center right, is, I am blacking out. What do I do? Frame inner rect. Right. +1 minus position x. Okay, did I get that right? I am kind of winging it with that one. I didn't really think about it. So dragging to the left goes to the right, dragging to the right goes to the left. That is very strange. So it's not entirely right here, but we are in the ballpark. Oh, yeah, right, of course. Because we need to do that line length times glyph width thingy. So this is where we were. Line index, right. So this is a bit tricky. Like, what if we don't actually hit on an existing line? We gotta consider that case. So let's have a auto line is lines. No, wait, hold on. Line. No footer. No, wait. What am I doing? M-line index, M-line count. Column index is, we have to compute the line index first. Yeah, that's right. But we have to constrain the line index. Now we know that the line index is a valid line number, and that allows us to do something like auto line is m lines line index, like that. And then we don't need to make a new scope here, and we can instead just do this little thing. So let's see, so we're over there, and we want to do that, I think. Wait, no, I didn't do that right. Hold on. So we should be subtracting from the position. That's more like it. Look at that. Very cool. Hello, my friends. Ha. And let's do some copy pasting. Shit. That's really neat. Let's clear those. Okay. Man, how cool is that? Quite straightforward, even though I stumbled a little bit. So let's do a little bit of patch review here. So, starting in GText editor, we get right to text position at, which is the helper function that takes like a pixel coordinate in the content coordinate space and turns it into text document position in the form of line and column. I'm just going to do actually a build in the background while I do this. Okay, so we make sure that we have the line index computed and constrained to the valid range, and then we get the line here. And then in order to compute the column index, we look at the alignment. For center left, we do what we had before, and for center right, we take the coordinate x value and subtract from it subtract from it the left coordinate of the current line text content, and then we divide that by the glyph width, and because it's all fixed with font, then that's gonna work fine. Okay, then here in the paint event, we change the exposed width to use the frame interact width rather than the full widget width. So I think originally GText editor used to not inherit from gframe, so that this is just an oversight from the conversion to gframe that I didn't realize that I also need to use frame interact to compute the exposed width here. And oh my god, look at that. It's a stray white space. Stop the presses. We gotta fix this. Where was that? Set width. That is just not okay. Okay, there we go. Much better. Let's reload. Okay. Now down here in the paint event, we are in the main text painting loop. And when we call draw text, we now pass mtext alignment rather than hard coding center left. That's fine. And then for computing the selection left and the selection right, in the case where we have a selection on this line, we now use the content x for position helper for getting the right x coordinates. And that helper is then down here. And for center left alignment, we just do what we had before everywhere. And for center right, we compute it starting from the right side instead. And then, of course, we're going to have to fill these this switch statement here in if we add some more stuff like center alignment and stuff like that. But yeah, so this thing just starts from the right. And then in the cursor content rect, we use the helper again to compute the cursor x value. And then we use that when we instantiate the cursor rect. Yep. Okay, and then what are we looking at here? Line content rect. Oh yeah, I had to tweak the line content rect computation so that we actually subtract the horizontal padding from the right, so that the line isn't too wide. And I think it was always too wide. It's just that I didn't notice when we were always left align, because when you're left align but you have your padding in place, then you're still ending up in the right place, even though you're painting too far to the right. You just don't notice, especially because like scroll bars go on top and everything. Okay, and then here's the setter for text alignment property. If it's a no-op, we just do nothing. Otherwise, we set it and update so that we repaint. That's cool. Adding the getter and setter, adding the helper down here in the private section. It's the member, default center left, that's fine. And here's the changes I made to the little GUI test program that I was using to show the two text boxes. Okay, I think that's a pretty good patch. So I'm gonna go ahead and commit this. Let's say gtext editor as support for custom text alignment. Different text alignments. Currently only center left and center right are supported, but it would be fairly very straightforward to add other as well. Okay, cool. Plop. Let's pushy push and look at it one more time. Oh, yep. Look at that. How cool is that? And it just works the way that you would expect. The way that you would expect. Oh, shit. It doesn't work the way that I would expect. Now, what happened? Well, we are getting too wide. Foo. The text is still updating correctly, but now everything's all weird. Interesting. What happens up here? La la la. Hello, my name is a left aligned. That works, sort of. What the heck is happening down here? We gotta look into that. I guess it's when we have a little bit of overflow. Okay, let's look into that. It's a good thing we tested overflow. So how does that work? I gotta refresh my memory. So generally the way that overflow works in these widgets is that they all inherit from this thing called G scrollable widget. And I'll show you what the inheritance chain looks like here. It's text editor is a scrollable widget, which then in turn is a gframe. So actually gframe is not a direct parent, but gscrollable widget is. And the scrollable widget adds the scroll bars to the widget and puts a little thingy down in the right corner. And it also adds a concept of visible content tract and this content coordinate space. This thing isn't like as complete as I would like it to be, but it's something that I'm always improving. So anyways, let's go and actually debug this problem. Okay, we gotta find out how this works. So so what the heck was I saying? That the horizontal scroll bar and the vertical scroll bar, they all have as their maximum value the total range of pixels that we don't have enough space to show. And then the way that we implement the scrolling is that we just translate the painter here for the text editor by the negative scroll bar values, respectively. So, of course, we don't see the scroll bar in that in the single line text edit thingy, but the scroll bar is still there. It's just not visible. So I guess in the case of the horizontal one, we are man, this is messing with my brain. When we're scrolling left to right, then scrolling causes the translation to be negative. So should we just shift the inversion here, depending on whether it's right or left? Let's see. Let's say that horizontal alignment modifier, switch and text alignment. And we'll see if it's 1, unless it's right, then it's minus. Oh no, hold on. Let's do it. This is the way it should be. Cert not reached. Okay. Oh, there we go. No, this is not at all what I want. Yeesh. Okay. Sorry. Horizontal alignment modifier. Going to right. Wait, this is, wait, I think I'm on the wrong track here. I think this is just the way that it should be. I'm just gonna comment this out. I think I had that wrong, and I think this is about scroll into view, scroll cursor into view, right? Yeah, so here we should really be doing something smarter because we are computing the wrong rect. So we're going to do rect set. Wait, why are we even doing this here? Cursor content rate, isn't it correctly computed anyway? I don't know what the heck this code is trying to do. Find A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So actually it looks right if you're painting with selection, and if you're not painting with selection, it doesn't look right. What's that about? Okay, first off, it's annoying that I removed that stuff, so let's just rebuild with the automatic launch again. Okay. And I think this thing can actually work that way. I think that's fine. Now let's look at paint event. So why does the selection painting look good, but the regular painting doesn't? LineRect, line content rect. Oh. line content rect. I guess now that content is from right to left, then each content rect needs to start at a different x coordinate, so we shouldn't be assuming that each line content rect starts at x0, which is what we're doing here. Yeah, obviously that's a mistake. Okay, so then what was the thing? Cursor content rect. Content x for position. Line index 0. Oh, in this case, it's going to be 0, 0. But let's do it that way anyway. Content width and the content the thing. We're going to need a line width for that position as well. Let's see. That would be auto line and lines. And I always forget the star. Okay. Then we'll say that the line width is line width times font glyph width. Does that make sense? No, it's not font glyph, it's glyph width. I feel like that doesn't take into account glyph spacing, actually. Fix me. Glyph spacing into account, no? But it's a separate problem. Yeah, so let's do that instead. Because if we just start at the right x coordinate, then the width of the line content rect should be accurate. Well, that's not right. What am I forgetting? I'm going to debug printf as LineRect so I can see what it looks like because I'm a little bit confused. 2 string characters, okay. (129,9) There's 2 9. Right, so 129,9. It's over here. It's 91 times 12. That seems correct. I think that is the content, right? And then if we scale it up, it changes. All right. That all looks good. So why don't we want to paint? Draw text into the LineRect. Aha! This is the part where we are messing up. So let's just not do that. Yeah. There we go. Hello friend, yellow friend. Such. Yeah, so there's a little bit of exposing the cursor is a little bit lazy. It's a little bit crappy, but I'm going to work on that separately. This doesn't really belong to this patch. Hello, friend. Okay. But now we are not getting the line to be as long as we wanted it to be. And why does that matter? I guess it doesn't matter for these purposes, so I'm actually gonna do fix me, make sure we always fill the entire line. I'm gonna leave that for a separate project because this is starting to grow a little bit too much in scope. But I think now this patch is where I want it to be. Yeah. Hi. Yeah. That's cool. Okay. Let's commit what we just changed. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so here we're adding that fix me, and then in text editor, scroll cursor into view. Actually, we can probably improve that cursor movement here by doing. I see what it was trying to do previously. It was trying to sort of fudge the rect x value a little bit to make sure that it would scroll a little bit further than the literal cursor coordinate. So we can just do set x content x for content x for position and cursor. Okay. And then we have the line content rect, which is now computed starting at the content x for position and with this as the width. That's cool. Okay, let's look at the line class real quick. Line class has a width member. Should we be using that maybe? I had a feeling it would have that. Yeah, so it just does this exact same thing, but I do like the idea of saying line dot width font. Okay, wait, hold on. Let's not get out of scope here. This was in content rect, line content rect. Line width font. Let's leave it the way that we had it, and I can go and clean it up later. Okay, whatever. Line content rect, what we're doing is we're just starting at the content x for position now. And same thing for single line and multi-line. Okay. And in text editor, I'm adding this fix me here because I'm suspicious of the glyph width function. I think that we need to also take into account the little bit of spacing that occurs after every glyph when we do width calculations, but I'm going to go and revisit that later. And then here is the test program. Okay, so let's commit this. Or should we test first? Let's just test that I didn't break anything. Jeez, this video kind of grew a little bit. But it's good to investigate everything. Right line, hello there. left aligned. You too, lefty. Okay, cool. Right, let's commit it. GUI get status. G text editor. Fix line content, correct behavior with non-lefty alignment. With non-left alignment, with right alignment. With custom alignments. There we go. Push. Okay. I think I'm gonna be happy there with today's video. Yeah, that's pretty good. I'm gonna be improving this offline, of course, but I think we got to a pretty good place. So if you made it all the way this far in the video, I sincerely thank you for watching, and I hope you saw something interesting here, and I will see you next time.